Yeah. Oh,
And
and my bad about the data type. I was gonna say the data type for decimal is a float, I believe. Not an integer, because an integer is a whole number, if I'm not
yeah,
mistaken.
yeah,
Okay,
float. Yep.
cool, cool.
All right. So I will go into my code. I just shared my screen, so feel free to look at my screen. This is my code base right here. This is a project built with Next.js, React. We could look at some of the packages real quick. I have Next.js Prisma for my database, um, or my ORM. So my object relational manager. This connects me to a Postgres SQL database. I'm using React, React DOM, and React icons, and then I have just a ton of development
Yeah. By the
tools.
way, if you could focus on the Prism part eventually, that would be great. I want to see how it works.
I'm not gonna be going over my code in depth just because there are some environment variables I don't want to make public.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, we could do like a little brush over the Prisma stuff. Prisma seemed like the best tool for me for Next.js. Um, I did hook up a Mongoose and a MongoDB database at first just because everyone's always talking about Mongo, and I was like, all right, I'll go with Mongo. I didn't really have a reason for going with Mongo, and it worked,
Hmm.
but I decided that Prisma was just way simpler, way easier to
Yeah.
use, and I wasn't really getting any benefit by going with MongoDB. So let me go ahead. Let me see what I got in here.
Hey, Jim,
Schema.
if you don't mind me asking you a quick question about this stuff, like what you're showing me right now is super new to me.
Yeah, this is just a configuration file. So it has like information about the project, the name, the version, some of the scripts that let me like start
Mhm.
up my application. And then these are all, so each one of these here,
Mhm.
this is a code base of its own. So this is a code base that was created by other developers that I'm able to just basically inject into my program. So like React is a framework that people use to build their projects. I didn't build React, but if I want to use React in my project, then I need to add it to my project. And so if you go to
So
node,
like, mm,
go ahead.
yeah. No, I was just gonna say like if like you were to present this to a job interview or something like that, is this like sort of like one of the steps that you have to do, or is this kind of just like to let them know like, hey, this is like an outline of what I have down for the project or something, or
Yeah, I would just show them the tools I'm using for the project, basically.
oh,
Yeah,
okay,
but
so
I think what she means, like, do you have to code this? You don't have to code this.
No,
This is
this happens
automatically
automatically.
generated.
Yeah, this is automatically generated.
oh, you didn't generate this; it generated by itself.
Yeah, yeah. Every time I'm like, okay, I need to use a new package, I just do npm install, and then let's just say I did like npm install Prisma. When I do that, it's gonna add Prisma to this configuration file automatically. It's gonna go to my node modules, and you can see if you go all the way down to
Mm-hmm.
Prisma, Prisma here. This
Mm-hmm.
Prisma file right here,
Mm-hmm.
this is a code base.
Mm-hmm.
This is the Prisma code base. So the same way I'm showing you my code base for this project, this is the code base for the Prisma project.
Got it.
So literally, like the
Mm-hmm.
whole Prisma project
Mm-hmm.
is in this file.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I would like to add something
Cool.
because what's really useful about this file is that if you download Jim's project, it has all the same versions of all the packages, so you're all on the same page, right? So that's good. Otherwise, you could have a conflict where he has a newer version, you have an older version.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a good way of sharing a project.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and if you don't mind me asking, like before we jump into your project, is this like I don't want to like go ahead like like I always tend to it's like I see the future like and then I ask a question and it's like yeah we're gonna talk about that next. I'm like okay, but so exactly what is this project about before we
This
jump
is
in
this
or
is just the website for O1 Software Network. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, so I could go ahead and just go to like www.o1sn.com and you can see.
This is what you made?
Yeah, it's just right here.
Oh, this
Actually,
is what you made.
this is actually outdated, so like I don't like this. Actually, the one you're gonna see right now when I do npm run dev is different. So like I said, I kind of just built like 10 different applications and I'm like experimenting with it. This is
So
Yeah,
quick
you
question
know,
for you.
I can write some issues with this as well. Like, why is your CTA just call to action the secondary button, not the first button?
say what?
You know what a CTA is, right?
Yeah.
So, the learn more, it has more of a primary visual to it
Uh-huh.
than the join one. The join one seems like more like a secondary button. It
Uh-huh.
should be like swaps probably.
Yeah. Like I said, I didn't give it too much thought.
Yeah,
I just literally, yeah.
just
Um,
giving feedback.
yeah.
That's good as well.
All right, so I don't know. You guys want to ask questions while I'm sharing, or you want me to just kind of like show you what I was gonna show you first? I'm down for whatever.
You can just show me, and if I need to ask you something, I can ask.
All right, cool. I don't even think if you click these, yeah, I didn't even add any functionality to these yet. But there is a login, so let me go back to the code really quickly. You wanted to see Prisma.
Yeah.
So I have an account. I have a volunteer. Now this is like represents the database. So I have a
This is something you get out of their website or something, right?
say what?
Like you didn't create this model account, ID user ID type or anything like that. It came from your configuration in the Prisma website, right?
No, I built my schema.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah. So like volunteers, I have a volunteer page where people could like fill out a form, and these are like all the I created the form schema, like first name, last name, email, all this stuff. So we have our account, we have our volunteer, we have session, so you actually stay logged in. We have user, we have course, because I told you I created like just 10 different versions of this website, and one of them is actually like selling courses directly through the website, but you're not going to be able to see that one right now. So we have an instructor, a lesson, a purchase, verification token. So these are just schemas for the database. Essentially, if you went to the database, you'd be able to look through the database and see like all these objects depending on
Just
who
quick
logged in.
question.
What's up?
Yeah, so that the schema that you made, is that something you made or is it something the computer generated after you made it?
Nah,
Everything.
I made this. Yeah, when you're deciding
Yeah.
what you want the structure of your website to be and like what data you're going to be collecting on your website, you need to
Yeah.
decide like how you're going to
What
structure what you're storing.
like
And
a table of contents of a book, right?
yeah,
Like
exactly. Yeah, so each lesson is going to have an ID, a title, content, a video URL, so like a URL that links to the actual content, whether it's free or not, so a boolean true or false, course ID and course. This is actually not even done. Like there's going to be way more than just this. But this is just like enough to so I could like know
Mhm.
kind of where I'm headed. And like I said, I all this that you're seeing, this is just off the top of my head, not thinking about anything. What I show you guys as far as like the feature I'm adding, that's way more planning. There's not even code for that yet. There's just like a plan for it. So I'll show you that in a minute. So you could see in the app we have our admin. I have an admin page. I didn't start building that yet, but I'm gonna start building that just for a place where you could kind of like access the database and see everything, and just like makes it easier to administer the page. API, this is the back end right here. So these are all the routes for the back end. Let's just say like the user's route. If I need to load the users, let's just say like future reference, you're able to connect with people like a social media site, and you wanna like make friends with other users, then you would pull in the users who are your friends, that sort of thing. This is like a beginning of something of that nature. But these are all the routes for the back end, and then these are all front end components. So just a bunch of TypeScript components. You can see.
I'm sorry.
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah, I had a quick question about that real quick.
Yeah.
Okay, so for the background API, why is that supposed to be in the background for like
It's just the
push
back end. It's the back end. Like this right here is the server, basically.
server? Okay.
Yeah. So actually, this whole application is back end because it's just a server. It's running on a server. So this right here, this is waiting for someone else's browser out in the world to make a request to find the user. So if they load up a page in their browser that requires the user route,
Mm-hmm.
then their browser is going to make the request to the server. The server is going to use this to access the database. Once it has that, it's going to store it in users, and then it's going to respond with the users, and it's going to inject the users. So let me see.
Did you buy that server or domain name or something? I don't know.
Yeah, I pay for it.
Oh, you paid for it. Okay, got it.
Yeah, so you could see if you look at the users page
Mm-hmm.
right here. I'm saying awaiting Prisma
Mm-hmm.
user find many, and then I'm returning
Okay.
a user card. So I take the
Mm-hmm.
users
Yeah.
from the database. I get a list of all the users. I map over that object for every user in the database. I return a user card. So this page right here is the users page. So when you're in your account and you click on users, then
Like login.
you're going to go and you're going to see all the users in the database. So obviously I need to add tons of functionality where you're only seeing your friends, because in this case I would take users, I would map over users, and
Are
if
you creating a social media site?
um like I said, I'm not really, there was no plan. I just started like building out tons of different things to kind of experiment with a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
but
Yeah,
that's
I mean,
that
'cause
that's a
I'm trying to, like,
potential thing, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
But
that's really cool. I didn't know you could do that. I have zero like understanding of like how. I mean, I mean, I'm just trying to like compare or find similarities, like analogies of what you're doing, so I can understand what is going on. So, yeah.
let me go
It would
ahead
be.
and so you can see I've only actually like styled it for mobile, so it doesn't look good for mobile, but it looks decent for mobile. Definitely better than if you look at it like
So
desktop. This
we're
looks like
talking about looks real quick, Jim. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
what?
Um, I was just gonna say, like, if we're going by looks, is that what you meant? You said something
Yeah,
about different looks.
yeah,
So what I noticed a lot of sites are using is like they're not using a plain white background anymore.
yeah, yeah.
They're making the whole either like there's gonna be like a tab, kind of like the way that Facebook looks. I don't have Facebook anymore, but I remember there used to be like a blue tab and then like everything white. Um, that's kind of like when I think of like a bar when I think of that, what I just said, like a blue bar and then everything underneath white, I think of Facebook. But like
Yeah.
most sites, I think nowadays they're using like an interactive background, like the way that web development, you see the background of that.
Mm-hmm.
You can, like, I would suggest like in terms of like visuals, because I'm a very visual person myself. Um, I really like what I noticed a lot of websites I feel like they're really interactive is that what they do is they put the whole like that whole background they leave that as like one whole sheet,
Mm-hmm.
and then they kind of like play around with um, the different type of like the way that they lay it out with web, like for example, he says web development, so they somehow put it in there in a way that it is just like flowing with the whole page. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Exactly. Let me go ahead and just do npm run dev so you can see like this is one of the versions I did. Operation up. I think it's run dev. Oh, it's already.
That's definitely mobile, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah,
Server
like
started on
the.
3000.
Mhm.
What's up?
Yeah, no, I was gonna say like who deals with. I think that's more like UX design, right? That deals with like the layouts and stuff. Like they use like Figma, right? To
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, basically the idea is you have a designer who creates the visuals, but not the code, just the visuals. Like, oh, this page is going to look like this. The menus are going to look like this. It's going to use this font. It's going to use these colors. And then the front end developer is the one who looks at that picture and
Mm-hmm.
transform it into a web
Wow.
page by
Yeah.
using code. But also there's the backend developer. The backend developer has all the information
Mm-hmm.
that the front end developers need. So the front end developers ask for this information,
Mm-hmm.
and they display it on the screen, and that's where APIs come in handy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if I didn't have to do any styling, I honestly wouldn't. That's how I feel about styling.
You're a backend developer at heart.
I just did enough to so it didn't look like bad, I guess. I'm like I just and I played around with a couple different styling tools as well. So I don't know if I could even
So
get this up. Let me
what's
see.
going on with the error there?
I'm checking.
Do you have a server running already?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it says port 3000 is in use.
Yeah.
So you probably have already a server running, right?
It does no. So
Okay.
I did test it earlier and it did work. So I don't know if let me close this down. This is the actual website. Let me just if I can't get it running, that's totally fine too. I just pulled it from GitHub too. I haven't really like.
See, you already have another one because I think you're creating multiple.
Yeah, it's not closing down when I.
But you're checking. Can you check VS Code? Because maybe it's you did it there.
I never started here.
You don't use terminal there.
Nah, never.
Yeah, it just seems to be creating instances of the server.
Yeah, localhost. Yeah, it is. Port 3000. I gotta figure that out because when I close, when I X out of this, it should automatically close down, and it's not. So that's something with my CPU. Because on my laptop, that doesn't happen. I'll figure that out though. No worries. I did want to show you the other version because it was like you said, T. It has like more visuals, and it's just like a totally different version of the application. But I'm gonna go ahead and jump right into.
That's so weird because you should be able to open it even if it's using a different port.
I know. Even when I go to localhost 3002, it's still just not
Can you
open.
try? Does it make any difference if you try to use terminal inside of VS Code?
I could try.
And are you sure? Yeah, it seems like.
Yeah, same
just,
thing. It's a
just
computer
follow
thing.
the link. Weird, man. I never seen anything like that.
I know. Yeah, it's a CPU thing. I'll figure it out. Don't worry.
That's so weird. Okay.
Yeah. So, all right. So let me go ahead and show you the feature I'm going to be adding. Let's see. So, basically, what I'm doing is, like I told you, Daniel, too. One of my plans and what I've been doing recently is opening up time for one-on-one consultations, one-on-one just coaching. So it's gonna be like, I don't know, $200 for like 4 sessions. It's gonna be a month session, 1 hour 1 week, 1 hour each week for 4 weeks, basically like $50 per session. And so I'm building a component to get an initial consultation. And so I want to collect enough information to get enough information to build people like a solid roadmap. I don't want to. I honestly don't want it to be like a long-term 3-month, 6-month, year. I don't want to do that one-on-one. I want to always be constantly like updating, bringing on new people, and then kind of kicking them out the nest and letting them fly. A lot of programs What they do is they try to like Udemy. They want you to be a subscriber for like 5 years and watch tutorials forever. I just want to give you the information you need to like create a roadmap for you, create a plan, like help you come up with some projects to build, give you assistance with those projects, and not solve the problems of the projects for you, but teach people how to, like when you encounter errors or obstacles, how to overcome those errors and obstacles, just like from a programmer's point of view. So one part is just name, contact information, location, educational background, current job, programming skills, previous projects and portfolio, tech stack used, technology interests, learning preferences, time commitment, career goals, and then tailor the programs within their financial means. A little bit of like what's their budget kind of thing. And based on all this information, then I could, one, create them 2 solid 1-hour trainings where I could just sit down with them, help them figure out a project, help them like plan a project, and then kind of like give them a roadmap that gives them everything they need to kind of just like be successful. So my web strategy, this is the beginning of it. It's not even done yet. I still have a lot of work to do, but basically, so I'm going to have a form wrapper. This is going to handle the submission logic and overall state of the form. So all of this information, like each of the inputs for the form, the state of those inputs are going to be contained with the form wrapper. There's going to be a personal detail section. That's going to be its own component, and that component is going to contain just the name, email, phone, and location. The location, these are all going to be text inputs with just validation, email validation, phone validation. The location is actually going to be kind of like a custom component. So if you look here, I have a location input component because I'll be integrating Google Places API for location auto completion. You type in like the first, like the number of your address and like maybe the street, and it auto populates. So I want to, that's going to be like a custom component. Then a skill level section. And you'll notice how I have personal details section, skills level section, preferences and goals section, then financial section. I want these to be like their own pages. So you're not all this, like the personal detail section, the skill level section, they're not all on the same page. You complete the personal details section, and when you click next, then it changes to the skill. So it's always like a bite-sized chunk of form where you're filling it out. But as you're clicking next, like if I'm on the personal details section and I fill that out and then I click next, then the state of the personal details section is saved to the form wrapper. So the form wrapper is actually keeping track of the state as we move through the form.
Yeah, I get it.
So educational background is going to be a radio button group, current job and role, text input, programming skills, programming experience, radio button group, specific languages, checkbox group, because you could choose more than one, types of development, checkbox group, conceptual knowledge, checkbox group. And there's going to be more than this. I just like wanted to get like a basic idea. Project experience, radio group, education, radio group, specialization, radio group, soft skills, team experience, radio group.
Oh, there's going to be a component for that for sure that's going to do all these things.
Yeah, exactly.
The radio group.
Yeah, exactly. You see it how many times? Exactly.
Yeah.
And then I still want to structure this too. And then preferences and goal section, radio group, text input, text area for career goals, and then just a radio button group for financial information. And like you said, the micro components, these are basically going to be reused over and over by the whole form depending on the input. I just have to design these specifically for that. So the last thing I'm going to show you tonight is I started doing a little bit of planning for the state management. So I'll show you the state management tonight. I still have to plan the validation. So like for email, I need to make sure that the email is in the form of an email. That's pretty much automatic, but there's other checks I want to do as well. Data collection, I don't know if I'm going to use form data or JSON or exactly how I'm going to send it to the database.
You're using Context API?
Context API, yeah. I'll get to that in 1 second.
Can I see how you're wrapping that?
Yeah, I'm going to show you in 1 second. Let me just show you these.
Okay. because there's some issues with conflict
Yeah. So user experience, I'm actually gonna spend some time doing some research on this because, like I said, man, styling and user experience, I'm not like big on this kind of stuff. I just want to send the data. I just want the functionality. I'm a functionality guy, you know. So I'm actually gonna spend some time on this and build it in a way where not only I could use this component, but I want to build this component in a way where I could reuse it across applications and other people can also use it too. Then I want to think about error handling, accessibility, actually integrating it into the application, security, and then actually testing this component to make sure it works. So these are going to be some of the things I'm going to be covering like next Friday, the Friday after, as I continue
Yeah.
building out this application. But
Yeah. The only thing I would tell you is that like Monday, if you ask me Monday, I will tell you I'm not a linked list guy. So now I seem to be getting there. So
yeah,
some maybe you can find joy in styling eventually if you find something you like.
I know, yeah, yeah, it's not bad. I could do it if I really try.
Also, Tailwind UI is a great site to have for that because they already have all the components ready. You just copy and paste it. So that's
Yeah,
pretty safe.
I like Tailwind.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this is basically this is my plan. Like you said, though, there's probably bugs here. Um, so basically, I'm just going to import, create context, use state. I'm going to create a form context. This is where the state of the form is going to be saved. I'm going to have a form provider. So basically, any component that's wrapped up in this form provider is going to have access to the form data. So inside here, I'm using the use state hook. I'm going to be able to have the form data, which is an object, and then the set form data, which is a function that modifies the form data object. You can see the beginning of a form data object here, just name and email, and then all the other form fields will go inside that object as well. And then I'm returning the form context provider, passing in the value of form data and set form data. So now any child of this provider is going to have access to the form data and also the method to change the form data. This function here is use form context. So this is going to give people access to the form context, and it's also going to check to make sure that a context exists, because if you try to use the context outside of the form, then you should get an error like cannot access context, or cannot, or you're outside of the form provider, or some error that's like super clear so you know what the problem is. And then this is the final form component right here. You could see that we're using use form context. So we're using the form context to actually access the form data and the method that changes the form data. We have a handle input change. So regardless of the input that's being changed, we have the name and the value that's being changed. And then we're setting form data. We're basically passing the existing data object and adding a new object with the name and the value, or resetting the name and the value. And then we have our form here, or at least two inputs of the form. This one is the name, this one is the email. Like I said, this type email is basically going to do the email validation, so we don't have to worry about the simple stuff, but I might have to add some validation to the other inputs. And then we wrap the form in the form provider, and now you'll actually have like value form data dot name. You'll have access to this. So now the good thing about this also is when it comes to the point where you're moving between sections, like we filled out the personal information, I'm clicking next, and then I go to the next one. If I click back and I go back to the personal information will still be there. It's not like reloading the page or anything like that. And this is not like, I don't want users to be able to like find this form just through a search engine. Like if they're like, I want them to find the website. So this form's not actually going to be server side rendered. Maybe the landing page of the form, like where the state of the form is set on personal data will be, but I'm pretty sure it's just going to be a client side component. Yeah, so that's that so far. Um, like I said, this is my sharpening my axe. I never really put time into planning. I usually just build, and so this is like my first time actually putting a lot of time into, not a lot of time. I probably put like an hour into this so far, but just putting time into planning. I want to make sure that one, when I'm done writing this plan, I could go ahead and just bust out the code in a couple hours. No questions asked. Everything's already mapped out. I know exactly that I'm using Context API instead of Redux or one of the larger libraries, because one of the larger libraries is kind of overkill for a form like this. Also, the form data is coupled within the form. It's not, you don't need to access the form data from other components in the application, so using one of those frameworks just doesn't make sense. Also, using the use state without the context and actually saving the state within each component is, you're adding so much complexity to the application that you don't need. So create context is like the perfect solution for a feature of this size. Yeah, so that's what I have so far.
So,
Hey, yeah.
do you okay? Do you want to go first?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I was gonna ask a really quick question. For your website, is it consultation? Okay. Do you have a page or a part, like when I think of websites like these, when I think of them, I want to say that it would be cool to have like a reviews page, like people leaving reviews, because I think like when I see a review of someone, a coach or a mentor, I can gather like LinkedIn has that, they have that added feature where it's like people add to other people's profiles to to talk about like, oh, my review of this person, like this is a great person, professional, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Would this page have something like that as well, or I don't
You
know?
mean the overall website?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely a feature I would consider adding for sure.
Mm,
For sure.
okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I wasn't sure if you already had it or not, but anyway, that was just my point. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd probably do something like once I have a solid email list, send emails to people who have actually signed up and paid for one-on-one coaching, and then that way they get an email like after the 4 weeks is over, asking for feedback on what can be improved, all that kind of stuff, and just a review of the training overall. And then yeah, you probably filter those by 5-star reviews and only show the 5-star reviews on your website.
Yeah, I mean, your idea, Jim, is amazing. In terms of I'm guessing this is something that you'd want to do like full time at some point, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, I think like with the cost too, because like some camps are like over like 2 grand, 4 grand, and it's like it's like I don't know, like maybe I guess a question for you is, would you have a like a is it like a structured class where there's gonna be a whole bunch of people joining in Monday through Friday kind of thing?
Nah, this is one-on-one.
Just one on one. Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is one-on-one right here. So basically, I'm assuming most people will have web development skills, so converting web development to other fields, um, finding transferable skills, overlap between the skills that they have right now, and integrating them and using them to learn other skills, even bringing on like guest experts, case studies, that sort of thing. This is the big thing though, is the creating the learning path. So the learning path for every one-on-one student is creating like the beginner, intermediate, advanced. Where do you want to be 3 months from now? Where do you want to be a year from now? Where do you want to be 3 years from now? And creating that path, like literally step by step.
Hmm.
Curating a list of resources, books, online tutorial, that sort of thing. But mostly projects, that sort of thing. Creating milestones, and
Hmm.
then
So for the
lots of
learning path, sorry, for the learning path, that would be catered to the individual, right? So like beginner, intermediate, advanced. Do you think like maybe that's where you're gonna have to add a little bit more detail to your outline, maybe?
Oh yeah, this is literally just like big picture. Each like this learning path right here is like more than what you see right here. Eventually it will be even more than what you see right here. It'll probably the learning path alone will probably be like 30 pages of like how to perform a proper learning path for students.
And like if I'm not mistaken, like sorry, I have so many questions.
It's all good.
Um, so for the just your so what you're doing is you're building the whole website, right? That's essentially what you're doing. Like you're the full stack, right? Is this like what I'm understanding? Like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
oh wow. Okay. Wow. I'm okay. Yeah.
Mhm.
I still have my question regarding context API. How you're designing it?
What's up?
How you're designing your context API provider?
It
Is
is
like a one big store or is like a bunch of small ones?
no. I looked into doing a context API for each section or even each input, but I would rather just wrap the whole form in one context.
Yeah, but that's gonna create problems when it's not scalable this way. Just letting you know.
How so?
Because the thing is when you create context API, if you have uh, one context API for wrapping the whole thing, let's say that you have components A, B, and C wrapped inside the context, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, let's say that value for that only the component B needs is changed because it is within the context provider. All of the, the components inside are going to be rendered, even if they're not using uh, that variable.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you're gonna basically re-render your whole application every time variable changes.
Yeah, that's fine. This is such a small
Okay.
component. Yeah.
Yeah, it is right now. I'm just asking, like, if it becomes a big thing, I would probably suggest you to use something like Zoostand or other stuff like that. That's I think it's even easier to use.
Like what?
The Zoostand. That's what I use.
What is it called? What is it?
Okay, I'm gonna type it on the because it's a German word.
Is it like
Zoostand.
another library or framework or
Yeah,
something?
it is. It is a library, but it's like really small, and it feels like you're using a hook. It can just like have the store in a file, and you import it. Like you import a variable. That's it. Like
Mm-hmm.
you don't really have to. Yeah, you do have to wrap the app, but
The whole
it
app?
works. Yeah, you have to wrap the whole app, but
Uh,
it works independently. You don't like if you change something that the component B uses, the component A is not going to re-render because you haven't imported the variable there.
mm.
It's kind of
Yeah, I mean, I can break down even like the sections into their own context, but the thing is, I'm I'm sending the data. My form is handling the submit, and I'm sending the data from the form component to the server to be stored to the database. And so, since the form is the one handling, since all the state lives within the form, and the form is the one that's sending all the data, then I don't know. It just made sense to me to just let the form manage the state as far as like the context goes, because then otherwise you're still going to have to consolidate all of the data from each separate section or even each separate input if you're doing it on a really granular level. So yeah, it's possible, and I think you're definitely right about the rendering. So every
yeah,
time every time you change the input, it's going to re-render the form,
yeah, exactly.
the whole form.
I'm just letting you know that this doesn't scale well, but if you're gonna keep it small like for a long time, that's okay. But if you want
Yeah,
to
yeah.
make it huge with lots of components, lots of features, lots of sections and all that, It doesn't scale well.
That's totally fine. There's no plans to scale this up, but if there was plans to scale this up and make it like I guess how would you scale this up? Like what are you thinking?
Um, I don't know. You just keep adding more components, more variables, more states, more
More inputs you're saying?
yeah, more basically anything that's client side and more states really.
So I do have,
More
I do
states.
have. I was actually skeptical about adding this much. Like I was like, is this collecting too much data just on like the form? Man, I thought I was gonna delete some of this other stuff because you can see if you go all the way, oh down here, because this is stuff when I'm gonna have a profile. Every user is gonna have a profile, and so I have data collection because a lot of this data I want to run through machine learning algorithms eventually in like a year and a half, 2 years from now. And so I felt like this is the data that's going to allow me to make better predictions for the business as far as like what students to bring on, which ones progress the fastest, what type of trainings help students progress. Basically using AI to help students progress faster. Essentially, that's like the ultimate goal. Like it's the education platform, and so
Yeah.
um, this data here, as far as like collecting data, I was curious about what to add to this form. I don't want to collect too much because me personally, when I'm filling out a form and I'm interested in something, the more stuff I have to fill out, the more aggravated I get.
Yeah.
You know, and also I don't want data that I don't need. Because a lot of companies do that. They just collect like unlimited amounts of data and they're just using it to like sell to advertisers or make more profit. I only want the data if I'm actually going to be able to convert it into value for the people who are here, you know? And so like this stuff right here, members are going to be able to add extra information in their profiles and connect with others and that sort of thing and just become, and just connect in other ways. So yeah, there's more stuff down there. I might, depending on like feedback from users, or if when I set up this form, you can see that I'm going to have testing. One of the testing I'm going to have is A/B testing. So, and one of the things I'm going to be doing is seeing where people are dropping off. So when somebody comes to this page and they start filling out this form, are they dropping off at like
Yeah.
are they dropping off at like the current job and role industry? A lot of people are Xing out right there. You know, I want to kind of keep track and pay attention to what percentage of people are filling out the full form. If they're not filling out the full form, where are they dropping off? If they're dropping off all at the same place, then what changes can I make to ensure that they're not dropping off and they're actually filling out the full form? You know, so I feel like this might be overkill, but I also feel like this is actually the information I need to craft a good roadmap and training plan and like just like short-term, medium, and long-term goals for people, you know. So, but if it doesn't work, I'll cut back on it. There's really no plan to add more. This is really all I need as far as like crafting something solid for people for a long-term plan. But yeah,
Yeah, it's good. By the way, I checked I pasted the name of the library and also what
okay.
checklists it says about contacts.
This one here. Single global contacts for your entire. You can consider splitting your contacts into smaller, more specific contacts that can reduce the chances of unnecessary re-renders by ensuring that components only subscribe to the contacts they actually need. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah, the cool thing about what you're saying, the only way I would actually end up cutting it into smaller components is if I got a bill from Vercel, the one that's hosting my server, and they're like, hey, we're re-rendering your page 1,000,000 times and it's costing you an extra. If it started costing me more and they were like, because of the re-renders, now it's costing you more and it's not just like $20 a month anymore, it's like $75 a month, then I would start breaking it down to like minimize it. It would all come down to money, honestly. The same way it would come down to if you were working for a big company, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. If you're comfortable with Context API and you already have everything coded, it's fine.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. I feel like with these events, man, I shared for way more than 5 or 10 minutes. So I wonder once this grows if we're actually going to be able to squeeze a lot of people into this event, you know?
Sure. I think so. Maybe you have to have like two different events for like events too big. Like you
Hey,
can't attend only one and not the other or something like that.
Mm, yeah.
hey Daniel, do you mind sharing I was curious do you mind your project you mentioned you were you had a couple projects or maybe you were thinking of one. I'm not sure. I can't remember anymore. Just so I can sort of see like what you've been working on
Yeah.
or
I have some projects. They're finished, pretty much. But yeah, I mean, if Jim is okay with that, yeah, I can
It.
show you pretty quick. I'm not sure if we need to delve into code too much, but I can show you like what what a project can be, or something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like what stuff you can
yeah,
build.
Yeah.
Sure. I can share my screen, no problem.
yeah.
Let me
And
first build
Jim,
the thing here.
yeah, no problem. Take your time. Hey Jim, so in terms of projects, I know you mentioned, I know that I want to share a project eventually.
Mm-hmm.
Like that is definitely my goal. And just to like think about it a little bit more in terms of like what I would need to share or how I would begin or even where to start really. Like like even like a different ideas for a project. Like I don't have any issues with finding a you know, I generating an idea. I'm really big on ideas anyway, so I can like literally generate any idea in like any second. But
Yeah.
I guess like my question is like how extensive should it be? I mean, I like could we have like project zero, say like project zero meaning like an easy project to like project 10 meaning like a really complicated project? Do you have stuff like that where we can like discuss like, oh, here's a project that's really difficult, here's a project that's really easy kind of thing?
As far as like pre-structured,
Hmm.
pre-created websites.
Or something like that, yeah, or projects like someone's been working on, like I just kind of want to see like how easy and then how hard it could be like to do like the whole full stack stuff, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I don't have anything like handcrafted for people to start building, but I have a really good resource that you can use. Yeah, let me send that to you right now. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, I shared the
Yeah, I'm seeing
yeah.
yeah, we can see.
By the
Yeah.
way, I haven't changed this logo.
Mm,
I should have. This is the Wiley logo,
yeah.
and
Hey,
that's what we have.
yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah,
I was Daniel, I'm sorry. Didn't mean to interrupt, but I was gonna ask you about the you see how your website, your web page, your web browser says 127.0.01?
yeah,
Is it this is okay, if I'm not mistaken, like I'm super new to all of this, but
sure.
if I'm not mistaken, are you pulling that up from your like how does that work? Because I thought
So
yeah.
I'm gonna do it again to show you. Like right now, if I just killed the server, okay. So if I refresh, you can see that it's not gonna be able to load because there's no server. So what I did was I ran this command which is called npm run dev. So npm is the package that is used for this. You can use yarn. There's pnpm or whatever. But basically, this command runs the project, right? And remember package JSON that we took a look earlier.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You can see here. Can you see dev?
Yeah.
So we
Hmm.
have some scripts. So I could build the website, and by build, that means that it's gonna create the website in the most optimized way for you to host it online. There's a preview, which I don't even know what it does, but basically you have dev, which runs the script Vite. Okay, Vite is what I use to create a server. Um, and this is React server, by the way. Just to let you know, so I'm gonna run this again, and as you can see, it says, you know, the name of the project 0.0.0 dev, because it's the version. Vite, which is what we're using. We're using this version, and then as you can see, there's a link. So the server was just created, and I can hover over this and follow link, click follow link, or I can do Control and click. But when I click, it shows that the server is now running, and
Do you
the
pay for
code
any
is
of this? Yeah, I just want to like make sure I understand. Like, do we pay for because you have a live website right now? I no, this is not
yeah.
live. This is not live.
This is not live. This is this was a take home assignment that I
Okay.
did for a company called Lettuce, that they
Oh,
have restaurants and stuff like that. I'm actually planning on modifying this so it's more general, so it's not just about them. Maybe I'm gonna do it like with fast food or something like that. It's more generic and then publish, but I don't know. But anyway, let me show you how the, the thing works. Do you wanna?
Can we, before you hop into that though, can we just say what's up to the people who just joined? We got V Kill Mister. What's up?
Hello, I'm good. How are you?
Pretty good, pretty good. How you doing? How long you been coding? Where you from?
I'm from India, but I'm currently in Toronto, Canada. I'm a recent graduate from the University of Ottawa. I'm just getting into coding learning DSA. Although I've been coding and dabbling into Python for a long time now. That's about it. I'm here for here to learn how to deep dive into DSA and lead coding.
Cool, cool. Awesome. Welcome, welcome. Tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time and 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we're doing the data structure and algorithm contest together. We basically come together, work independently on the contest, and then after the contest, we share our solutions. So that's a data structure and algorithm event right there. Fernando, what's up, bro?
Hi Jim,
What's
hi
up? What's up?
Daniel, hi Jim, hi T, hi Luke. Well, uh, me, I'm just learning. I start learning C sharp since some friend of mine said to me that there are some jobs, so I need to learn about that stuff.
Everybody's learning C sharp. I love it.
It must be
Yeah,
so
because
easy for you to learn C sharp though, because you already know JavaScript, you know Python, you know Java.
I was learning Python, but um, since this this friend said that there are more jobs in the market for C sharp, I just
Hmm.
turned down Python. But I like it Python. But
Yeah.
yeah,
I'm telling you, Jim, C sharp's the future,
All right, fine. I'll start learning it today.
man.
Just,
Nice.
just playing. Nah, JavaScript's my baby, man. JavaScript and
Yeah,
C.
I love it.
JavaScript and C. All right, go ahead. Do your thing, Daniel.
So, just to summarize, this is a project that was a take-home assignment from this company called Lettuce, and I can show you the Lettuce restaurants, I think. Yeah, Lattice Entertainment. This is the company, right? They have lots of restaurants.
Hmm.
They have a freaking diner club thing, and they were interviewing for an app. Let's see if they have an open position. But basically, they were looking for someone who knew React and Ruby on Rails.
Hmm.
Anyway, we can find here. Yeah, whatever. Maybe not here. Whatever. So that was it. That was a take-home assignment, and they wanted me to do a quiz. They gave me the questions and the options, and basically I'd have to build a quiz app such as BuzzFeed. You know, I don't know if you guys kind of like do quizzes on the internet. Um, so yeah, so basically the idea is the quiz started here. It just asks like take our restaurant quiz to find out where you should go for dinner. As you can see, this button here is not available, and the reason why is that you don't want to hop to the next question without actually picking an option. But does anyone want to quote unquote play this? So you know,
Hey, Daniel, just real quick.
or,
I actually think it would be a good idea to have that next question there. So, say for example, they can't pick, where they want to go. I mean, like, especially you have like you have Tokyo, Paris, Los Angeles, Nashville. Like, what if there's a client or a person who is trying to fly to one of those locations and doesn't know, like which one they will go to first. So, by skipping this question, actually, it will allow them to, have more of a options. You know what I mean?
yeah, I understand what you mean, but the like remember this was a take home assignment, so I had to do exactly the way they wanted me to. So they wanted me to like force people to pick an option before moving on, because you kind of like have a score system on the background. Uh, so let's say I don't know how many points each one is. Like let's say this one earns you 4 points. This one earns you 1 point, 2 points, 3 points, something like that. And then it all adds up, and you get the result. So if you skip, you it could lead to an error where if you, because you skipped one question, one of the options of the restaurants is not available to you anymore. Let's see if I can find
Yeah. I'm
uh,
just curious, like their idea, like their mentality behind that, because it's like if it's based on a score system, is it about, okay, I just want to know how many clients I can get, where's the big city, where's the place where people really gravitate towards this restaurant? Like they want to know exactly where they should have that restaurant. Is it that
Mm.
kind of gathering that statistics, or is it more like they just kind of want to have like a metrics for their
yeah, I understand what you mean. Like that you think we should be able to skip questions, right? Uh, but
well, like
like
questions like the city and state, like that's never an issue. It's like if there's a restaurant, right? Like that part is just interesting to me. For efficiency, to be more efficient, because I know people are so impatient these days. Like like you literally, it's like 2 seconds on a website. They're like, I'm done. Like is it gonna give me what I want or not? Like, you know what I mean? So like, um, in terms of like the efficiency behind that, like what is the purpose for that first option, I guess.
so, I'm showing you here. Here's an array of objects. That might be a little bit new to you, but basically the idea is you have I'm going to map through each of these questions. Like this is a question, or rather a screen. This is a screen. This is a screen, and as you can see, I have the question, which you can see here. Pick a city you would like to jet off to. That's the first question, right? And I have like each option, which I'm rendering on the screen: Tokyo, Paris, Los Angeles, and Nashville. As you can see, there's a number associated to it. That's the score. So I'm adding up. So if somebody picks Tokyo, they're gonna get a score of 2, right? So and then for the next question, let's say they pick House of Cards, they get a score of 1. So now they have 3 points, and so you do it like that. And at the end, I don't remember exactly where it is, but um, you calculate the score and you get a result. So that's the idea. That's why we wanted to kind of force people to pick an option. Because imagine if you skip everything and then you just pick the last one. You get like, I don't know, thriller. You get 2 points, and all the other options of restaurants, they will be like impossible to get to. You can only get one restaurant always, because you skipped everything. And also, like, what's the point of creating all this and if you're just gonna skip it, right?
Did they have you build this from scratch, or did they give you boilerplate?
They they gave me this image, like they gave me a zip. I remember I think it was a zip file with an image of this,
Hmm.
like how they wanted, and also the file for the background, which is this ugly thing
Hmm.
here. But yeah, I could try to find it in my email. Not sure if
Now
I
I was just curious. It's
show
all
it
good.
to everyone. But yeah, they gave me a zip
Yeah.
file with a like a print screen, and the file for the background.
I don't mind going through the options with you. I'm really curious. I was just super curious about this whole thing.
Sure,
Yeah.
yeah. Like
Sorry.
let's play the game first. Like you want to play it so you
Yeah,
can
yeah.
see
Let's
it.
play. Okay.
So pick an option then. Like
Let's do
pick a
Tokyo.
city.
Yeah.
Tokyo. Okay. So you see, as I click Tokyo, this is
Mhm.
selected now.
Yeah.
And next question is now available. I can go to
Mm.
the next question. And also, I'm free to change my option whenever I want. And
Mm.
nothing happens. Like just because I click on it doesn't mean I go to the next question.
Mhm.
So this is a radio button,
Mm.
and what it means that you can only pick one option, right?
Mm.
There
Mhm.
are checkboxes which are some other kind of buttons which you can pick multiple options. This one forces you to only pick one. So you pick Tokyo. So let's click on the next question. Pick a Netflix show to binge watch.
Hmm. House of Cards?
I was
Sure,
gonna
House of
pick that
Cards.
one too.
Yeah. What is the first thing you reach for in the morning?
Glass? What? You mean a
Glass.
glass of water? I don't know.
Okay, glass.
Like
Yeah,
glasses? You mean like
yeah. Maybe I it was my typo. Like maybe it was glasses. I don't know. So yeah. If you could be any animal, what would you pick?
mm,
I didn't write these things. I just put whatever they
what
gave me.
narrow options?
Yeah.
Maybe eagle because I want to like be able to go anywhere, everywhere, and anywhere, whenever the hell I want to. Yeah.
Yeah. Pick a superpower.
Um, Telekinesis?
Okay. If you were to write a book about your life, what genre would it be?
Adventure, for sure. Yeah.
Okay. So you got Tall Boy's Taco. Cowboy Taco offers a menu inspired by fresh and simple ingredients. Tacos served on hand-pressed corn tortillas. Includes all-day breakfast options. Yeah, who cares? But anyway, that's what it was. So if I click restart quiz, I start all over again. Basically,
Oh, okay. Get it.
what it means is that when I click on that button, I erase all the points that you know, all the state, everything. I just reset everything, and that's why uh, it now rendering this. It's not like I clicked on a link that sent me to this page. No, it's just a state that changes, and because the state is now empty, it goes to the first question. It's React
Yeah.
content, so yeah, I
It's
can
just
I maybe show
that-
something, but uh,
Just real
yeah,
quick, Daniel wanted to say, that website is so it's like essentially, if I'm understanding it, it's about someone who wants a generator picked for them. Like if they are in a certain
yeah,
state, it picks like, okay, based on your personality or based on your preference of things that you are as a person, like preference, yeah. Based on your
yeah.
preference, we'll pick a restaurant for you because you don't know what to eat. Like,
Hmm.
Yeah, basically what I mean, like I said, this was a take-home assignment by this company Lettuce, and of course, they want to promote their restaurants. That's why
yeah,
all the
that's really
results
cool though. It's
are
like such a
restaurant
great
food.
idea.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the idea is you pick something. It there's a point system that's calculated on the background. The user never sees it. He doesn't know how many points each option gives you, and in the end, they get a random result, right? No, I mean not random, but
I can really see that
something.
like this kind of thing could really be so great on profiles like a Facebook or where you want to
Yeah.
like, oh, I want to eat tonight. I don't know how do I feel?
Yeah.
Like, I feel
This,
sad? Do I feel happy? Oh, okay, how do I feel like based on like how's my blood pressure? From like 1 to 10, like am I why do I want something sweet? Do I want something sour? Do I want something, whatever, salty? That kind of thing could fit on a profile. It's like, okay, I don't know what to eat today, so let me just go and click this and figure out that kind of
yeah,
thing.
and
And
also like
totally on
imagine
a Facebook, yeah.
imagine like Jim's project. He has lots of radio buttons in these projects that he wants to do like components. This is just one component, just one. I can show you here. This is the component, the question box. As you can see, it's just this. This is the code that
Mhm.
produces this, this, this. It's all the same thing.
Oh wow, can I see that? Yeah.
Yeah,
Ooh.
because you can see like I get basically what happens is that I get the props here, which are passed to these components, which are the questions and the current question, and it basically iterates uh, using the index, and it just sends to like the object. How can you explain that? It's so weird. Um, so you have an object which is called entries, which get the questions. This is an array of objects, right? It gets the current question, which is an index, and then it selects the value, which is the answers. I said this in array of objects. It's not just an array. And then entries is taken here from this object. Uh, it, so out, so entries, object entries give you an array with two values, key and value, which I then pass to this other component here. I don't know how to explain it because it's kind of complicated if you don't know React. And even if you do, sometimes it's complicated. But
So
let's
you're
go to
saying
option.
lines. So, I'm so sorry. Just wanted to ask you a question. 8 through 21, line 8 through 21. That whole thing is for all of the 4 different check marks.
Mm-hmm.
Or
Yeah, exactly.
wow.
It's the it's
Actually, the visual part is this one. This is the visual part from 10 to 20.
Oh,
This,
so that's all visual.
this is the whole visual for this checkbox here, right?
You're not using
But not for the button.
Oh, okay.
the only
So like
the only thing that's changing what you're seeing as far as like pick a superpower and the 4 different options is go back to the code.
Okay.
The question is the current question. So if the current question changes, then what you see as the current question is going to change, and then you're pulling the entries out of the current question's answers. So the current question has a question and it has an answer.
Yeah.
So the current question is going to show you the question. The current question answers is going to be stored in the entries, and then you're going to use the entries to display the 4 options.
Yeah.
The only thing that changes the component structure and logic is all the same. The only thing that changes it is passing new data into the function, because the component is just a function at the end of the day, at least these days.
So yeah, basically, it's what you said. Like, you get the questions that come from this file. Remember all these questions here. Um, you know, they're being exported here, so any other file has now access to this array of objects. So I get the questions, but I also need to know what is the current question.
Why do you need the current question? Can't you just pull the current question off the questions?
Sorry, what?
Can't you just pull the current question off of the questions? Why do you pass in both of them?
I think I could do that. Like I could try because I could maybe have a number here or something like an index number, or just use the index number of the thing itself. For some reason, I thought it was easier at the time to do this way.
What if you did like instead of doing questions and current question, you did just questions, and then instead of the second line on line 9 where you have const entries equals questions current question, you take dot answers off the end, and then where you have entries, you do an object shape, you destructure it, so you have your question and your entries as two separate variables. You know what I'm saying?
I think I might. What do you want to call this variable?
Yeah, call it like const, and then do the the object sign, right? No, no, no. Do the actually like curly braces,
Okay.
and then right
Okay.
question, comma, answers, and then
I get it.
equals questions current question. You should be able to just destructure both of those right off this, I believe, right?
You mean this, right?
Yeah, because then you have the question and you have the answers without passing in two separate things. But
Okay.
both ways work. We're like pulling teeth here. This is just implementation. You're gonna have some people who prefer to do it just the way that Daniel does it, and you'll have some people prefer to do it this way. And it's all preference, man. You'll hear people like arguing about the right way to do it. There's not if it works, it works. Unless it costs
Yeah.
money. If it costs money, you need to make it cost less.
So
So
yeah, I heard about like how the efficiency like really matters like with code, right? Like eventually, I think with like time and experience, like there's the efficiency would be like way more, you know, apparent maybe or something, right? In terms of like efficiency and using the like uh efficiency in using certain variables or the codes. Like I don't know. There's
Mm-hmm.
like entries or arrays and stuff like that. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and also like I would like to remind you that this was like a take home assignment. I had like
Yeah.
24 hours to do it, and I just did
I
it.
think it's a great assignment. I feel like
Yeah.
I feel like I would continue with the assignment.
I'd be so mad though if I did an assignment for someone and they didn't hire me.
Yeah, the problem is that I failed the pair programming because they wanted me to do React Native stuff, and I really hadn't seen React Native in like 3 years or 2 to 3 years, so I was like kind of slow. I didn't really remember how to map stuff using React Native, you know. So that's why it didn't really work. But yeah, that's how it goes.
Yeah.
If you want a React Native job, study React Native.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't really do that at the time.
True. True.
But yeah, so
This is a tight little project though. Pretty cool. Pretty nice.
yeah, so you have the option component, right? So let's see how it looks like. Um, you see, there's a value and points. So this is an input, right? So each one of these is the input. The type is radio. Here is the tailwind class. So it is a width of 6, height of 6, and this is interesting because this is accessibility stuff. So actually, what you're seeing here, the circle, is not this, because this hides the button. But we use this instead, field circle. This is the actual, like if I remember correctly, you see span field circle. This is a span. This is not the input. The input's here. It's hidden. If I change it here, let's see. Let's remove SR. Boom. There you go.
Yeah. Yeah.
So why did I do this? The reason is you can't really style radio buttons that well. So but they wanted the buttons to look like this. So what I did was you won't be able to create this random shape, which I created here in this field circle. You can see it. There's height, width. Like I could change that, right? So I could make it like, let's say, 30 and 30. So it's gonna look like bigger. But I didn't do that. I picked the size. But anyway, the reason why you want to have the SR only thing is because otherwise people are not able to access using their keyboards, because this is not an input. Do you you understand it? Like
Is it?
you want this to be
Oh,
available, but you don't want it to be shown. You
Mm-hmm.
want this to be shown, but you want this to be available. So you know,
is that why if you don't mind me asking, if is that why the button, the circle is grayed out, not like a, does the color matter? I guess my question. No, right? Because you can always just change the color, right? Or I don't know.
um, so I'm not sure what you mean by grayed
Like
out. Like,
you see that there's a blue circle and then there's a gray circle. Like I'm when I
yeah,
check some when I circle something, it's darker than the outline. You know what I mean?
yeah. I just replicated what was in the design, like the file that they gave me, right? But what I'm explaining here is that this this input here, I put SR only because that means screen reader only. So if I put it again, it disappears. So the reason is you want to when you check this, you're actually checking the input, even though uh, the this thing like it seems like you're checking the span. You're not. What's happening is you're checking. I'm gonna remove it again. You're checking this circle here, and then because the circle is checked, uh, a state changes this thing here. This thing here is changed.
But you can't
Uh,
see them. You can't see that circle. It's in the background, right? Like it's in the back.
sorry.
Like you can't see the blue circle. Sorry. So do you know how there's two? Can I write on the screen? I don't know if they have that option with Discord, but
Is it available, Jim? It's right on the screen.
I think
I'm not positive.
it,
That's a good question.
I don't think. But what is exactly that you need to write on the screen?
oh yeah. No, I was gonna show you yeah. So the one that's not visible, right? The one that's not visible to us, right?
Yeah,
That one is not visible. Why is that not visible again?
it's
I
not
just want
visible. It's not
why.
visible because we don't want this look. We want this look, and to make this look with directly in the input, it's really hard, if not impossible. So I created a span. I created this class here, which has all these like this color border, the the the, the, the pixel size for the border. It's solid. It has the border radius, which changes the radius. It's for circles, like perfect circles, is always 50%. The kind of display, the kind of position, because so basically, um, the reason why we have both, I'll try to explain it better, is that otherwise you wouldn't be able to use use this with for accessibility using the keyboard, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you see, if I'm using tab selected this button, right? It didn't select this, it selected this, but but for screen readers, once you select this with a keyboard, it's gonna tell you, oh, this is an input and the value is invisibility, right? So this span here is pretty much a class that's after the input. I could show you the CSS for that, but that's a little bit complicated.
Yeah. So basically, the one that he's hiding, you need that one.
Yeah,
You always need that one. You need that one to make a choice. If you don't have that one, you can't make a choice. If you just had the gray one that he designed and you just had
Yeah.
the style,
Mhm.
you can't choose an option. The one that you
Got it.
the purpose of the one you can't see, the one that's hidden, is the functionality of communicating with the browser. The one that is hidden is going to allow you to communicate to the browser. This is the one I chose. But
Mm.
the one on the right that's not hidden that you see, the only
Mhm.
purpose of that is style.
yes,
Got it.
The company said I want our buttons to look like this. So you had to
Mhm.
keep the one that has the functionality built into it and cover it and make it invisible, but cover it with the one that they wanted as far as the design goes. But they need to be close enough to each other where when you click the one that has the style built into it, you're still clicking the one with the functionality. Because if you don't click the one with the functionality, then it's not even going to know that this is the one you selected,
Nothing happens.
basically.
Yeah, thanks for explaining it better than I did.
Nah, it's all good. For sure.
But yeah, this is for accessibility too. So yeah, that's pretty much it. You basically create this, and then you kind of like glue this thing that's very similar looking to it, but it's not actually a radio button. And then you make the thing that's actually a button disappear by using SR only, which is screen reader only. That's a way of hiding it, well, without like removing it from the screen totally. Because if I do this, you can see that it's still there. It's not like it's hidden. Yeah,
I hear
because
ya.
I could do
So
something like let's say display
mm-hmm.
hidden. So I don't think it even works anymore. But,
That's interesting. Cool. I didn't know there was a piece of code. You said SR.
oh yeah, screen reader only.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Truly
but
wrong. Okay.
that's kind of weird, I know, but it worked for me. But anyway, it's so you have the options here. Basically, anytime that there's a handle on change function. So what happens is whenever someone changes an option, and even though we're clicking on this, it's the other input that's hidden that is changing, right? But anyway, anytime I change this function runs. So it runs and says set points and points. That points are being passed. So just say I want the points and I want to set it to this lower state, which I use with ZooStan. It comes from this like use store. By the way, it's a good opportunity to show Jim, ZooStan. You just do it. This is the whole store. That's all. And if you want to use it, you just import use store from the store, and you pretty much set a variable. Set I want to use store state dot set points, which is here. Where set points. So there's the interface. It tells you what it is, right? Number, and it returns nothing because it's a function. And you also have the thing itself written in a way that's for ZooStan, which basically you get you keep the current state, and then you replace it with you add the points. I guess
Mm-hmm.
maybe I should just substitute it. I don't know. Anyway,
Yeah.
I do
Where's
that.
sorry.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Where's your HTML CSS folder for this? Do you have one for this or
So
no?
actually, with React, you have the HTML here, but everything runs in this div, inside this div, ID root. So everything, this is the whole HTML. The whole page is this, but you have this ID root, and all the React app is inside here. Like React is inside here, right? So
Yeah. I'm still trying to like understand how to incorporate like the
it's
HTML
okay.
and CSS to the website. Yeah.
Yeah,
But it's I'm
um,
sure it's not a difficult jump to comprehend once
yeah.
I do it. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Like if you see here, it says there's a file called main. I don't know why I called it that, but basically you import React DOM, which the React that is used in the browser. You create a root, and then you look for that div. As you can see, it says document.getElement by ID root, and if you remember correctly from the HTML file, this is root. This is the ID. So you look for this ID root, and then you render
Mm-hmm.
the actual React code, which is this. So we see React. Strict mode is just an option that we have for React that basically tells you that if there's something wrong, it shows an error screen. It doesn't ignore the error. And then you have the app where if I go to the app, this is the app here. That's where a lot of things actually happen. It's not the best organized code you've ever seen, but like I said, this was a take-home assignment. But
Yeah.
basically, I'm getting a lot of stuff from Zustan. Um, yeah.
Seems
Um,
pretty good though. Can you scroll down a little bit?
sure. You see, like, remember when I restarted the quiz?
Mm-hmm.
I run, it's basically I'm running a bunch of functions. You set total points, set current question to 0, and set show results to false. Um, and of course, if there's no questions, uh, the quiz doesn't exist. And I could simulate that. Let's see. Let's see if I just delete this whole thing. It's an empty array. Hopefully it should says yeah, quiz does not exist. So it's just a little safeguard. Now I put it back. It's there. Um, but yeah. So this is just a way of like just in case you forgot to put the questions there. It's not gonna give you an error.
Mm-hmm.
Like can't return undefined or something like
Let me ask now. Actually, let me ask T. You said you come up with ideas super simple, right? Because this is just like a project that you're probably not planning on working on anymore. It's just like a presentation, basically. Not really searching for feedback on ways to improve, but just like sharing with everybody. So T,
Mm-hmm.
what you say you got ideas for days. What would you do to change this application to make it uniquely your own in a way that's similar, but if you saw it, you wouldn't recognize it as the original app that it is right now, as far as like choosing cities and movies and that sort of thing, but a similar concept with like the similar functionality where you have maybe questions or maybe not, but you're moving from stage to stage and then submitting and getting a result, or switch it up. What would you do to change it to make it uniquely your own?
Um, yeah, I mean, I would add more images, like
that.
kind of like verify that you're not a robot situation. Um, so I'll add images and then questions, um, just to like make things fun, and then like
Yeah, I get it. What you
really challenging.
let me
Yeah, like
let me see if I get it correct. Let's say BuzzFeed quiz. Like let's see personality quizzes. Like, you can see that. Let's click on this one. Which cabin member are you? So as you can see, this one has the images, right?
Uh-huh.
Which mine doesn't have.
Yeah.
And if you click on it, it's
that's exactly what I was thinking. Except
and
I
yeah.
don't like the visual of this because this looks really like elementary visual. Like BuzzFeed, come on, BuzzFeed. BuzzFeed could do way better than this. Like,
Yeah.
visual. Like what is going on? Where are all the UX designers? Gosh, I think I should probably be a UX designer. But anyway, um, yeah, this is really cool. But like the thing is, like, it's just too much color on my face. You know what I mean? Like, I'm, yeah.
No,
No,
so
Yeah.
it's
so
a mixture of
what
this and a mixture of other
colors
things.
that you would use?
All the good UX designers are working at Facebook and Google.
And there you go. Like they show you this result. I actually happen to be all real. I just put anything. So retake, it just resets the whole state. It's
Mm-hmm.
pretty much the same
Yeah.
idea, except that I have radio buttons with words. That's what they have, and they
Yeah.
have images with the words. Like
Mhm.
I could do the same thing. Like this
Right.
is the same thing that I could do. Uh, this is the same thing basically. It's
And
just that
also like make
it just as the button is hidden in two and style some things in this different way. The 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 style is different. That's all.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
yeah, so like to your point, Daniel, like yeah, the way that or I'm sorry, Jim as well. To your question, so yeah, I would add something like this. Obviously, like completely different user X experience, in a way that it would be personalized to the person. So like the person can even pick, say they want white background, black background. I mean, it can definitely get very personalized. You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
it would be some sort of added feature to a social media site, like a tag on of some sort. Like you know how you can track your steps in like it would be personalized in that respect. But yeah, I would add like questions like I mean we can
Well,
definitely go through like
first of all, like what subject would you pick instead of restaurants?
I think restaurants is honestly like the best subject because you know I always feel like a lot of people, and it's not just me, we don't know what to eat. Like I'm like, oh, what am I gonna make for dinner? What am I gonna make for lunch?
Mm-hmm.
So like that is like food. I guess maybe not just restaurants, but food. Like um,
Should I make one for what kind of software engineer are you?
Yeah, I was thinking actually about
I would
restaurants,
take. I would take it.
like something like what your like the learning path, like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I am a beginner. Here to say, I come from, you know, I have a college degree. I'm looking to get better at DSA, whatever. And then after all that, the person submits. You have the info in the server, and you can better develop something for this person.
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I mean they even have stuff like quizzes. Like what character are you from House
Yeah,
of Cards or something? Like what
Yeah.
yeah,
character are you
they have
from?
billions of those. Like,
Mm-hmm.
look at those. There are many of them.
Yeah.
So it's basically the same idea all the time. It's just a matter like what kind of stuff you would do. One thing I would probably do if I wanted to, I like the Nancy Drew PC games, so I would probably do something about that, like what PC game or what Nancy Drew PC game were you or something like that. That could be cool, but it's probably more complex because there are like 32, 32, 33 games involved in the series. So yeah, maybe I could do that someday.
Yeah, sky's the limit, honestly.
Yeah, there's so much stuff.
Oh my goodness,
Um,
so much.
yeah, and this is like a simple app. I built another app that's more complicated than this, the ATM machine, but maybe we can show it some other week.
Hmm.
But yeah, does anyone have questions regarding like anything?
Yeah, I did.
Oh,
So sorry, I did.
sure.
I don't know why I'm saying sorry. It's like we're
Yeah,
talking. I don't
you
know.
don't need to
Yeah.
apologize. Don't worry.
It makes no sense to me. But yeah, wanted to check like the logic. Can you show us the logic part of it?
Sure.
If there is logic that, yeah.
Yeah, you already got this part right where the point point system here, right? The values.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
When I
Mm-hmm.
click OK, I get some points,
Oh,
and then I
that's the
go
logic part.
as a card.
Okay.
I add the points and all that.
Yeah.
I think the logic's pretty much on the component. So
Mm-hmm.
you have a bunch of global variables here,
Mm-hmm.
um, which come from the store. It's all here, right? So
Mm-hmm.
let's go back here. You have a function that handles the click, like what happens when you click on the button. You increment points. Uh, you set the points. Sorry, what is this again? Handle click. Incremental points. Set points to 0. Current question. Okay, I think this might be a handle restart. I don't even know what it is. What is this? I don't know. Let's see. Next question. Oh, okay. I get it. So that's poorly written the variable name because it should be something like next question or whatever. But basically, you increment the total points. You set the current points to 0 or something. Uh, the amount of questions left is decreased by 1. Yeah. And sorry, you evaluate this statement. If the current question equals question.leg -1, you show the results. Otherwise, you show the current question. I don't know. I haven't really taken a look at this in a long time. Jim's probably will be able to explain it better than myself. This one is easier to explain. When you finish, you just handle the restart. You reset the points. You reset the current question, which, if you remember, arrays, they start at 0. Any sets show results false. Like like I said, this one, if you have no questions at all in this file, you get this little message: quiz doesn't exist. Here, this is not logic. Let's go to logic. There are a lot of there's a lot of conditional rendering. For example, if you're going to show the results, text, this text here is going to be bigger. If you're not showing the results, it's going to be smaller for the questions, so they fit. So if show results is true, you instead of having quiz here, it's going to be result. So if you do this, let's do it real quick. You see what you see this result because this value is true. And also, there's like it's really hard to explain because very spaghetti like because there's a tailwind class and also inside the tailwind class, if show results is true, you want to hide the whole thing. Like you don't want this phrase take our restaurant quiz to find out where you should go for dinner in your results. And as you can see, there's no such thing here. But if I restart the quiz, it's there again because this is not true. So this doesn't get evaluated. Once again, if you have the show results as true, you show this component result box, and you show this button with restart quiz and handle restart. So let's show it again. So okay, so we have result box, which is this box here. It's pretty much the same, but for some reason I created a new one. I don't know why. And then the button is the same component. It says restart quiz, and when you click on it, it does handle restart, which just resets all the things that keep track of where you are, how many points you have, and stuff like that.
Hey Daniel, I noticed that you don't have a backspace. On like, say for example, if they change their mind, instead of Tokyo, they want to go to Nashville or something.
Yeah.
There's no backspace for that.
Yeah, I don't.
Too bad you have to go to Tokyo now. Too late.
Yeah, I mean, I expect people to like, oh, I picked Tokyo, I just restart, etc. But the thing is, I would have a previous button, but they only had this button on their design, so I had to. The idea was how closer can you get to the design that they gave you. If I put a previous button here, like previous question.
Like a backspace or like that.
Yeah, it would be. They would not consider that a good thing because they want you to do exactly as the design. You're not supposed to take liberties. You're trying if you can execute what they give you. But as
what if you just built them like a brand new website that generated more business than the website that they have up right now? They'd be like, listen, we said to create the form. We said create the quiz. This is we don't want anything to do with you now. Nah, you're right though. Requirements are important. They don't want someone who's trying to be a hero at the end of the day. They want someone who could pay attention and listen. Although if you work for companies like Google, a lot of the times they just want to hire problem solvers who know how to find the problem and know how to fix the problems. They don't want to handhold and micromanage and all that. They kind of want you to do your own thing and just solve problems. At least that's like one of the best things about working at one of those bigger companies that give you liberties, like 15% of your time to work on personal projects and that sort of thing. Yeah, I gotta hop off right now because it's 9 o'clock. But I want to say before I sent a link. I think I sent it in the chat. Oh no, I sent it. I sent it to UT because you asked for it. It's a front end mentor. It's very similar to what Daniel's been covering. The same way that they gave him like a zip with basically like the design, what they wanted it to look like. That link, if you click on it, it's gonna bring you to a website and just create an account. And there's a bunch of free challenges. So click on challenges, and then filter by. I would say just click on Newbie first, and it's gonna give you a whole bunch of options as far as like projects that are perfect for newbies that have just HTML, CSS, and a couple of them have JavaScript. But I'd say like start with one with just HTML and CSS, and then yeah, choose one. Keep Google open. Keep ChatGPT open. Keep Stack Overflow open. And if you run into any obstacles, just try to work through them. You'll figure it out too. And this is like, I know a guy who, when he first started coming to our in-person meetups, he showed me Front End Mentor, and I'm like, how are you learning? And he's like, Front End Mentor. I'm like, how else are you learning? And he's like, only Front End Mentor. And now he's building, literally a year later, he's building front end and back end like beautiful applications. Last time I saw him, he showed me an application where he's pulling data in from an API. It's like one that shows like NBA schedules and scores. It's like a real website, and I'm so impressed. And he did it just with this resource, frontendmentor.io. So it's like, if you want hands-on, practical experience.
So you know, like, challenges.
Yeah, I sent you the link too. So go ahead, just choose one of the newbie ones, and you'll be good to go. And just work through it.
Just one thing, Jim. Do they teach you JavaScript and HTML, CSS, or just give you the challenge?
No, they give you the challenge. I think that's better because like you wanna learn how to find the answers on your own, because that's what programming is.
Don't you think it would be better to do something off free code camps, such as responsive web design or front end development or whatever?
I think if you want to develop the habits of programmers, no. You want to stay as far away from like tutorials as you can, and stay as close to like practical, hands-on, actually typing code.
Hands-on, you have to actually type code.
It is. It's hands-on without context though.
Okay.
The mini projects give you context, web browser context as well. I mean, it's not a bad tool, but
I think it would be overwhelming to just try to create a project that's, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but
hey, I know the people I know. Yeah, the people I know who just use Front End Mentor, I saw more growth in them faster than any other resource. I know some people who were stuck on free code camp. They like, you get into this habit of like feeling like you're successful because they're like, good job, you got that one right, and it's like a reward. You're getting those dopamine hits, but you want to work through the challenges. You want to be frustrated. That's like coding, man. At the end of the day, it's like constantly facing errors, constantly facing obstacles. That's the life of a programmer.
I agree in part. I think after you get the fundamentals, then you should do that. But if you already start getting frustrated right from the beginning, I think you need some small wins before you start getting frustrated. But that's me. We obviously disagree here.
Nah, you could pair of both, honestly, if you want. Because with these mini projects, they're gonna show you how to build projects. They're gonna show you how to like get stuff done. But if you do free code camp alongside these, you're gonna be learning things that you wouldn't have learned if you didn't do free code camp. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
obviously,
I agree.
yeah, obviously, if you're able to do both, the better. But if you could only choose one, I would definitely go straight to projects personally. But at the end of the day, it comes down to like your learning style too,
Yeah,
and like
yeah.
preferences, and so it all depends on who you are too.
Yeah, it really depends on like some people.
Yeah.
I love seeing some theory before actually coding, like the linked list stuff. Already knew the theory, and then I did the challenge, and then I got to understand. So maybe you're right about that.
Yeah, I like if I go too long without making mistakes or reaching an obstacle now, I start getting worried. I'm like, I'm not even learning anything anymore. One time when I was learning Docker, I spent like it was over 2 weeks just trying to solve one problem. And I was working on it for so long that I actually posted a question in Stack Overflow. I never post questions in Stack Overflow, but I was like, oh my goodness, I've been trying to figure this out forever. I can't figure it out. I asked several people who had no clue. This was when like Docker and Kubernetes was newer too. And so I asked the question in Stack Overflow, and no one was even answering my question in Stack Overflow because it was just like a newer technology even back then, and a lot of people just didn't know even how to solve the problem. Now, if you ask the question in Stack Overflow, there'd probably be someone who answers you right away, like, "Oh, that's already been answered over here." But back then, the technology was newer, and so what I did when I realized no one was responding to Stack Overflow was I just started going through the command line commands for Docker one by one. So if you go through like help and it shows you the documentation, it shows you all the different options. I started going through them one by one. And even when you go through them one by one, it's like a tree. So you go through the first one, and the first one has like 10 different paths you could take. And I started exploring them one by one. And then I was doing that for like 3 days, and I finally got to like one of the further ones. It was a setting, and it had to do with the Docker engine in my configuration. And I had the Docker engine. There was something with the configuration where all I had to do was change it to something else. Because as I was going through the Docker configuration and the help settings, I was actually Googling it too and going through the Docker documentation. And then I finally figured out what it was. And when I figured out what it was, I was like, it was such a small little change. It was the smallest, dumbest little thing. It was like a needle hidden in a haystack. And then I went back to Stack Overflow and I answered the question myself. And ever since then, I stopped asking people. And I stopped like even doing a lot of Googling or and that sort of thing. Like now, I just go straight to the documentation. If it's not in the documentation, then I'll go straight to the code. Like the sooner you could get to documentation, and if it's probably in the documentation, unless they have really bad documentation or you just can't find it because it's actually really bad documentation. But
Yeah.
most important stuff.
I had ionic capacitor, which was pretty bad documentation.
Yeah, some of them are bad, man. Like MongoDB is horrible. But yeah, the sooner you could get to just going to documentation and reading that, starting with like the startup guide and the documentation just to get an overview, and then like kind of digging through as you're building something, the better your life is going to be as a programmer. It sucks because it's so dry, and like it almost, you realize that the life of a programmer or software engineer is like the life of a lawyer. You're doing massive amounts of reading.
Yeah.
You know, like
Well,
90% reading, 10% coding.
yeah, one thing I would say is like start small. Like I know you're
Yeah.
that you get really excited. You want to build like a social media website with a bunch of stuff, but the best way, in my opinion, is like start small. Start small projects. The one like some of the ones from